Hi, welcome to Behind the Screens. It's a new video series by Airtame where we look into some of the most common questions in the screen technology industry that Airtame is a part of. I am Simone, Content and Comms Lead at Airtame, and today I have with me Simon. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you.
Do you want to mention your title and how long you've been with us at Airtame?
I can. I am Chief Product Officer at Airtame, and I've been with the company for 11 years.
And the
Yeah,
company is...
And the company is 12 years old. It was 11 months old when I joined. Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, so today the question is about bring your own device, or BYOD, in meeting room spaces. And the question that we have is, why does BYOD work at your desk but fall apart in the meeting room?
Yes, great question. Yeah, so to maybe give a little bit of color to what we mean when we say BYOD, it's usually a set of camera, microphone, and speaker, often in a sort of video bar, right, which has a cable routed to the table where your laptop is, and you plug in the cable, and then you're off to the races. You can run a call on your laptop. It shows up, if you're lucky, on the screen, and you get camera, microphone, and speaker from that bar. Sometimes you need a single cable if IT has been nice to you. Sometimes you need two cables to get it working, one for the screen and one for the audio and video. But yeah, that's what we mean when we say BYOD. And one of the reasons that it's not great in the meeting room to go with this solution is that then your laptop is sort of the point of failure for running the call. So you need to make sure, whoever you are in the meeting room that's lucky enough to run the call on your laptop, that you have the right microphone, speaker, camera, and all of these things selected, but also that you don't have 400 Chrome tabs running and a lot of other things, because your laptop is now sort of the engine for the meeting itself.
Yeah.
And if it's under pressure, then the meeting experience is going to be poor for everyone in the room. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong, you could say, with this setup. The good thing is that it's kind of similar to when you're sitting at your desk and having a call, right? The workflow is very similar to that. But the bad thing is that now you're in a meeting room, maybe with 5 or 6 people, and if something is not working optimally, it affects everyone in the room, and of course also the people remote who will get a poorer experience. So in short, the laptop sort of becomes the point of failure.
Yeah, or because the way that I understand BYOD is just bring your own device, as in any device. It doesn't necessarily have to be my laptop, right? So you could have a laptop that your company gave you. That's the one you're working with. Maybe you forgot it that day. So what if you brought your personal laptop? Just because that's what it happens sometimes. Or you work from home, or maybe you take a day where you work from France or whatever, and you have another device or an iPad because you just had to log in and answer something. Or like it could be so many different scenarios. Or you bring your phone as the only thing. You have guests coming in, bringing your own device, meaning every type of device, and not all devices have what's needed to get cabled up. So when we talk about BYD in a meeting room, what are we actually asking the employee to do? We're asking them to come with a full battery and not a lot of tabs open, and something that works with the setup, so they have to know what the setup in the room is like.
Exactly.
Maybe they need to have something installed, or it's a lot of added friction before the meeting even starts.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of stuff that has to happen before anything starts, and that's putting that responsibility on the employee. But what about cable BYOD? It solves a lot of that, though, right? It's just plug in the cable and you're good to go.
Maybe, hopefully, if everything was set up correctly, right? So it depends on how nice the setup is behind the scenes. So as you mentioned, battery is really important. Like, is that cable that you're getting on the table, is that also charging your laptop? If not, then that can quickly become the point of failure, because as we all see, running Teams or Zoom or Google Meet on your laptop, it drains your battery pretty quickly. So if your battery isn't fully charged, that can quickly become a showstopper, and then maybe you have to switch and someone else has to start the call over from their laptop, for example, right, if you're running out of battery. But also, when your laptop is running out of battery, it can't run as fast, which means that, again, the call experience might become poor for the people in the room and the people remote. Then there's the networking side of things. So network is, of course, extremely important when you're running a video call. And if you're running BYOD, most of the time your laptop will be on a wireless network. So again, you're putting sort of the point of failure on the laptop and how strong is the signal between your laptop and the wireless network. So if you're unlucky or sitting in the corner of the office in one of the remote meeting rooms that maybe doesn't have its own access point, you might have a poor call experience. And that's especially also going to hit the people on the far side of the call in the remote setting, because they will be not getting as clear audio and video from you in the room.
So cable BYOD, some problems. Wireless BYOD, some other problems. Then there are some companies that produce dongles or sort of cable solutions that promise a sort of wireless setup. Does that actually fix this problem?
It doesn't fix the problem. So, like the category wireless BYOD, or some call it BYOM, where you either have
BYOM.
you
Explain.
bring your own meeting, is another term that's also used to sort of describe the category of what we described with BYOD, but now making things wireless. So, of course, the benefit here is you don't have wires sticking out of the table. It might be easier also to install this setup, but it adds some other friction points, you can say, because now essentially you're still doing the same thing. You're still running the call on your laptop. You have camera and a microphone coming probably from a device under or over the screen. But now you add a wireless element, so you're actually running the call on your laptop and then screen sharing it up to the screen in the meeting space. And here again, you're putting more pressure on your laptop. There's more heavy lifting that it has to do, because now it also has to do a wireless screen share on top of everything else. And you're even more reliant on extremely solid wireless infrastructure. And then, as I said, more load on the laptop. Your battery, again, becomes more important. So you probably do need a cable on the table, because you need to charge your laptop while you're doing this. Otherwise,
And then you're tethered to a certain space in that meeting room as well.
Yes.
Just like we know with BYOD in the education sector, if you have a cable set up, the teacher or the one presenting will be tethered to the front of the classroom.
Exactly.
Which
So it's wireless, but most of the time it's not really wireless, because you need the charging cable anyway. At least you need to have it available, right? So, and as I mentioned, like when you do things wireless, you always will add latency. This is impossible. Like when you do wireless, there's more delay or latency than there is if you run things through a cable. And yeah, the wireless BYOD, you can say a video call in itself, no matter how you do it, will always have latency, because you have a delay between you in the room and the people on the remote end, right, that are sitting somewhere else in the world. And now you're adding more latency on top, because you're adding the latency of a screen share. And you're actually also adding latency from the camera and the microphone that is being sent wirelessly back to your laptop. So you're
what
adding
we call peripherals, right?
peripherals, often referred to. So you're adding a lot of extra layers of latency, and this in the end will mean that the call experience won't be as smooth. You will interrupt each other more. And camera and video quality will also degrade a little bit, because to do things wireless, you have to compress things. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of, you can say, factors with wireless BYOD. In a way, it's very nice, right? You have less cluttered space. You can easily connect to, even if it's a bit of distance between the table and the TV, you can connect without having to run long cables, but it comes with some caveats and some issues to run wireless BYOD.
So there's a lot of friction to begin with. There's just the hassle of setting things up and making sure that you take accountability for the stuff that you bring. But then it seems like there's also a lot of collaborative tension once you get the meeting started. So what if you need to share your screen, but you also want to keep working on your laptop? Could you do both at the same time?
Yeah, that's one of the general issues, both with the wired BYOD and what we have now called the wireless BYOD or BYOM, right? Is that your laptop is sort of occupied running the call. You can, of course, do some tricks with like extended desktop and different things, so that you can have something on the TV up there and something else on your own laptop. But it's up to the user to figure those things out in the meeting space. So it's not sort of taken care of by IT. You need to know how to navigate that. And otherwise, if you're just doing it like the sort of easy way, then your laptop is really occupied, right? If you shift away from the window with the call on your laptop, it also disappears from the TV that everyone else is looking at in the room. So you're sort of, you can say, using your laptop as the meeting engine at that point, and it's occupied doing that. So if you wanted to take notes or
leave the call.
Yeah. Or
what if you wanted to
yeah.
leave the meeting room and you would have to take your laptop with you because of something else happening? Then the whole call, and then the friction would start over, I suppose.
Then you have to switch. Then another person in the room, right, will have to take over and take the call from their laptop, unplug whatever they have plugged in, plug it into the other device, make sure camera, microphone, all things are selected correctly. So yeah, definitely adds friction if you have these types of call where someone has to step out.
Yeah. So there's cable BYOD or wired BYOD, and then there's wireless BYOD, also called BYOM.
Yeah.
And that seems like a false dichotomy. We only have two solutions. Is there something that sits maybe at the intersection of that, or somewhere completely different that we would also refer to as BYOD? Or maybe tell me, what's the ideal? What is the ideal setup for BYOD?
Yes. So what we have done with the Airtame solution is we think that the call should not run on your laptop, right? So or on your mobile device, basically. You walk into a meeting room, you have the wireless experience of starting things from your own device without plugging anything
No cables.
no cables or anything. But instead of running everything on your laptop, we run it on the dedicated computer in the room that is the Airtame device sitting behind the screen. Or maybe you're running what we call virtual Airtame on a touch display or a video bar that has a computer built in. So in that way, you move all of this like wireless latency and so on out of the equation, and you remove all of the, you could say, consumption or performance issues on your laptop, because now your laptop is basically just a remote control telling the screen what call to join, but then all of the call experience is actually running on the dedicated computer in or behind the screen.
And with a remote control, you would also be able to maybe pass on the remote
Exactly.
or...
So we allow you to transfer the control of the call. So if I started the call, but I have to leave and you have to keep running the call, you can take over and keep the call running. Another benefit is if you want to share your screen during the meeting, you can do that without having to join into the call and mute yourself, so you don't get this like lovely feedback of audio, right? You can just share like you would in a regular meeting setting. If it's a local meeting or a hybrid meeting, it doesn't matter. You share your screen wirelessly to the meeting room, and it takes care of showing it on the screen locally, but also remote if that's needed. So it's sort of a separate category, close to what is often called room systems, where there's a dedicated computer and sometimes a tablet to start the meeting, right? So this is a version of wireless BYOD where we take all of the load off of your personal device. And another benefit, just to wrap that up, is now you can also run it from your phone. You don't actually have to bring your laptop. Normally, you can't really. There's very few phones that allow you to bring them into a meeting room, plug in a BYOD cable, and then start a call. There are a few, but almost none on the market that do that. Here, you can just bring your phone. It's a remote control, right? So you can start the meeting from your mobile device, your phone or your tablet. And again, the call is running on the dedicated computer, so it's not a problem.
Are there any setups where you could go fully wireless today, but then with cable as backup if needed?
Absolutely. So there are a few accessory products that you could do this with. So you can often call switchers or room switchers. So you can set those up to make sure that you can run the call on your main wireless solution on the screen, and then you can plug in the cable if you want to. Or if this specific user walks in and that's their preferred workflow, then you can do that. But also many of the newer video bars actually have this built in. So you don't need any extra hardware. You can just get a video bar, maybe with Airtame running on it, and then you can have a USB-C cable coming out of the video bar. You plug the USB-C cable into your laptop. It takes over camera, microphone, and screen connection via the cable, and you plug it out again. It's ready to show Airtame signage content or run Airtame wireless conferencing.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Now I have my final question, and it's a little bit outside the rest of the scope. I want you to go, if you had to could wave a magic wand, what does the BYOD meeting room look like in a few years? Where does this go from here? What do you wish for?
So I think the main wish I have is it's just to keep removing friction, right? So to make it as easy as possible for the user to walk in, start their meeting, have a good quality experience, and walk out without really thinking about what they're doing, right? That's what we're aiming to do also with the Airtame platform. So I want to have even more workflows where we remove friction, we make it easy for the user. I think IT should take a lot of decisions on behalf of the users going into the meeting rooms, and then the users, they just walk in. Maybe they will even talk to the screen, say, start my meeting. And of course, there's a lot of, you could say, agents and AI being added to the world. I think that's also going to be part of how we work in the meeting rooms in the future. But that should be as automated as possible so the end user don't really have to think about what they're doing. Just walk in, start your thing from your own device or directly from the screen.
Maybe without your device.
Maybe
Bring
without
your
your
own
device.
self.
Yes, bring your own self. So yeah, make it feel like magic and take decisions away from the end user in the meeting room. They have enough things to think about. They probably have important things to discuss. And of course, the same counts for the classroom, right? The teacher has a huge task in front of them, taking care of the students, teaching them things. The technology should just get out of the way. That's what I'm hoping for.
So the question was, why does BYOD work at your desk but fall apart in the meeting room? And your brief answer is?
Network connectivity, performance limitations on your laptop, user flow, and your machine is occupied running the call and not available for your regular usage. That would be my 4 quick answers to that question.
Beautifully summed up. Thank you so much, Simon.
Thank you.